The stories behind the stories with Mark Arnold, exclusively on The Geek Speak Show.
Yes, this is historian Mark Arnold with another installment of the Stories Behind the Stories. And today we're interviewing Andrew Goldfarb. And Andrew is a cartoonist and a musician. He's known for his comic strip Ogner Stump and the books Hypno Hog's Moonshine Monster Jamboree, The Ballad of a Slow Poisoner, and Slub Glub in the Weird World of the Weeping Willows, and for his one-man band The Slow Poisoner, in which he plays the guitar and bass drum all at the same time. So, Andrew, welcome to the show, and tell me about yourself and how you got into cartooning and music.
Thanks for having me, Mark. Well, it's been a long and twisted road. Originally, I had designs on painting pictures, and I started out doing these really big acrylic portraits of deformed monstrosities. But I found that it was really difficult to get them into galleries because I didn't own a car. So I'd be going on the bus with like this 7-foot tall behemoth tree giant, and it was just a hassle. And then also once you sold it, it was gone for good. So I thought, hey, maybe I'll try comic books. They're reproducible and they're small, much easier to carry on the bus. And additionally, I wanted to come up with something that would take me the rest of my life to complete. So my concept was Ogner Stump's 1,000 Sorrows. It would be 1,000 installments, and each one would address the various ill or ailment of the modern era, such as taxes, retail sales, plumbing difficulties, really just about anything, that a person faces. I figured I would devote one installment of my my comic strip to that, and if I proceed at a rate of about 15 a year, it would take me until I was 100 years old. My math isn't that good, so I'm not sure if this is working out. Right now I'm up to 120, so I'm really behind.
Uh-oh.
But in a sense, that's a positive thing, because once I do get to 1,000, I have to die, because sorrow number 1,000 will be death, and I'll have to create it right before going over Niagara Falls in a barrel, which is how I plan to leave this world behind.
So it's kind of like the Dave Sims Cerebus way with 1,000 issues, eh?
Yeah, and I guess he did finish, which must have been kind of a...
he didn't do 1,000, he did 300. He did 300 issues, but yeah.
Yeah, it's weird when you attain your goals, because then really it's just downhill from there. But so I've created something that'll take me a while. My everyman character is Ogner Stump, and he's sort of a semi-autobiographical figure. And then he's got a accomplice who may or may not be imaginary, or might be a mutated octopus named Subglub.
Ah, and Your art style is very unique, to say the least. That's not saying a bad thing. I really enjoy it. But what are some of your inspirations? Because it's a very kind of psychedelicized, for lack of a better term, way of drawing. What inspired you to draw that way?
Well, my influences are mainly Jack Cole and Basil Wolverton.
Okay.
Who are both a little bit psychedelic. The excessive psychedelia of my own art, I would say, is attributable to incompetence and past drug use.
Oh.
But my ideal is to achieve something along the lines of, Plastic Man or Brain Bats of Venus.
Got it. Okay. Now, switching over to your music, which you actually incorporate artwork into, it's about the Slow Poisoner group, and then now you're a solo, but you've had great success with it. How did that work, the evolution of the band and the music?
Well, it actually started with a book from 1854 called A Memoir of Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds, which is like a sociology text by Dr. Charles McKay. And a friend of mine was explaining that there was a chapter in there called The Slow Poisoners, which is about an outbreak, kind of a fad of slow poisoning in 18th century France, mostly wives doing away with their husbands. And I thought, the Slow Poisoners, that would be a good name for a band. Mm-hmm. And I've learned that there are precious few ideas that a person is going to come across in their lifetime. So it's good to act on all of them if you can, because there's only, going to be 6 or 7 that you get total. So since I had an idea that I could form a band called the Slow Poisoners, I went out and did that. And originally it was a quintet with 2 cellos, and it sounded terrible. But as people kept leaving, and it kept getting smaller over the course of about 10 years. Eventually it was down to a duo. And I figured I should just take this all the way, and I just scratched the S off the end of all the merchandise and went from being the Slow Poisoners to the Slow Poisoner. Now, I do it as a one-man band, and the band gets along well. There's no more dissatisfaction in the ranks.
You do some interesting artwork when you have like an easel that has the different signs. You paint all those yourself, or you have people helping you on any of your designs or your songwriting or anything like that?
Well, my wife has drawn a few of those song cards. What happened was when I went down to being just a solo act, I figured I really should put something else on the stage so that it wouldn't be so lonely up there. And also for people that don't like my music, they might have something to look at that they would like. And so the idea was kind of the vaudevillian concept, like you'd have a vaudeville act on stage in the olden days, and there'd be a big placard that would explain what the act was on an easel, like Simon Smith's Dancing Bear. And then that would be changed as the next act came on. So I do this for every song, and so when I'm playing the name of a song, the title is displayed, and that way also people can come up to me afterwards and say, hey, I really hated that song called blah, 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 because they'll know what song it was.
Right. Well, so what do you prefer? Do you prefer doing your comics or doing music or both? Or?
Well, the music has more of an immediate gratification because you're on stage in front of people. So there is sort of an immediate response, which also can make for a lifetime of public humiliation as you're in these weird places performing to people that don't understand you at all and throw things. So there's the lure, the attraction of immediate gratification, and then there's the retreat into the much more hermetic and mellow field of visual arts. So I vacillate back and forth. With the comic books, I try to achieve a Gideon Bible method of distribution where I'll just slip them into people's pockets when they're not looking. But as a result, there's not a whole lot of feedback, and so the music fulfills that need to know how much the rest of humanity despises me.
Oh, anyway, on going back on the comics you work on, which one's your favorite, or which one do you are you currently pushing? Is it just Ogner Stump, or do you have any others that you're presently working on?
Well, I write an advice column. That's the other sort of literary endeavor. That's in a magazine called Torque. But the comic, basically, it's just Ogner Stump, I do believe, although occasionally I collaborate with others for one reason or another. Yeah, currently I'm up to I'm working on star number 119 today, which is going to be corporal punishment. I'm gonna address banking.
So, I guess you answered my next and final question. I was just saying, what projects are you working on now, and where can we find you in the next few months?
Well, I'm always on the internet at ognerstump.com. That's OGNERSTUMP. And the strip is also published quarterly in Pork magazine, which can be found at internetpork.com, I believe, and also in finer newsstands, free racks from coast to coast. And as far as my musical endeavors, I will be performing in the East Bay later this month sometime.
All right.
So it's vague, but we don't want to make it too easy for people.
Yes. All right. Well, I want to thank you, Andrew, for speaking with me today. And with the Geek Speak Show, you can always comment or email me at mark@thegeekspeakshow.com. And you can also listen to our shows on the Geek Speak Show website and at funideas.50webs.com. Thank you very much.
You can hear the complete story behind the stories by going to funideas.50webs.com. That's 50webs.com. funideas.50webs.com. The stories behind the stories, exclusively on The Geek Speak Show.